Yes, hello. It is a Celtic world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be. As you can see, it's slightly different appearance this week. It's just me tonight, and I'm just here to introduce the recording that we did with the Cayman Islands CSC a couple of days ago. So, we like a Celtic world to be a live experience. So that's why I'm here to field comments that come in throughout the show, but obviously don't expect to hear live feedback from the people in the recording because it is, after all, a recording. So, because it's International Week, we're not trying to stretch out Arnie Engel's return news for an entire hour or anything like that, or go through the squad and what needs to be done in the summer. None of that sort of stuff here. We like to give you, original content, and a Celtic world is all about connecting Celtic fans wherever they happen to be. So today's show, Cayman Island CSC, and all going well. Next Monday's show is with Geelong CSC from Australia. So just saying a quick hello there, just a Colton. So you'll be watching and interacting, no doubt, with the recording. So we'll just get on with it. Shall we? Yes, let's. Hello and welcome to Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans all over the world for Celtic fans all over this great big world. And David and I are very excited today to be joined by Ben Connolly from Cayman Island CSC. All right, Ben, what about you?
Hey guys, how you doing? Pleasure to be invited on, and thanks for the invite. And yeah, excited to chat all things Cayman Islands, Celtic, and well, maybe not so much Celtic after Sunday, but yeah, let's crack on.
Well, we'll definitely find a bit of time for that, maybe towards the end, but the sort of state of play. But David, are you very excited by the fact that it's International Week, right? And here we are in a Celtic world, and we're not just trying to stretch out, are we still in the title race into hours worth of content? Instead, we're bringing you fresh, a Celtic world stuff from CSCs far and wide.
Yep. No, I always enjoy the new guys coming on to the CSCs. I remember the old days when I joined from the first time in the Bangkok CSC about a year and a half ago, whenever it was. We've had the CSCs from pretty much all over. We've got a whole podcast for our American CSCs, and looking forward to hearing all about your story, Ben, and what you can tell us about the Cayman Islands. And I know that Gav's done some.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I know that Gavin's done a lot of research on this, so we can test each other on your knowledge of the Cayman Islands.
I feel like I'm going to get quizzed at some point.
You're not really. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, little did David know when he did his CSC episode that he would get roped into like becoming a full-time contributor. So you never know, Ben. This could be the start of a beautiful relationship.
There you go. I'll see what I can do. Only if I impress, though, right?
Well, you're already impressing. We're easily impressed. We've got a very forgiving audience. So hello to everyone in the chat, by the way. Now, this is a recording, obviously. We're recording this the weekend before the Monday. No. We're recording this midweek before the Thursday. Is that right? Yes. And it's the time zones and everything. I'm very confused.
Yeah.
So this will go out on Thursday, and I will be in the backstage while this is playing, so I can bring up some comments as they come through. So feel free to comment, everybody in the chat. Your voices will be heard. All right, Ben, so where do we start with the Cayman Islands CSC? Well, probably no better place than the logo. Now, there appears to be a couple of logos. Do you want to talk us through this one and the one I'll flick up in a second?
Yeah, so this is kind of the original logo for the club that we launched in 2024. And what you've got here is obviously the tricolour. And then what you can see there is the actual 3 islands of the Cayman Islands. So the largest island is Grand Cayman, where most people live and work. So that's where I'm located. And then the 2 smaller islands are known as the sister islands, and that's Cayman Brac, which is slightly bigger. And then the really small one is called Little Cayman. And this was designed by our original president and founder, a guy called Fergal, who's since now left the island. So he was the genius behind this.
Mm-hmm. And then this one is the more updated version.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been playing around with some logos because we're trying to get some merchandise designed for the club. So things are a little bit expensive, unfortunately, in Cayman, as you can imagine. I think it's now classed as the second most expensive place to live in the world after Monaco. So we are in the process of getting scarves made up, and we're in the process of getting some shirts made up for the club, just so that when we do get visitors in the future, or when we go to visit other clubs, we can take some merchandise with us as well. So this is one that we're playing around with, maybe for our t-shirts that we're thinking of.
So you've got a turtle at the top there?
Yeah, so you've got the turtle at the top, which is on the Cayman Islands flag, the national flag. The pineapple is actually in relation to Cayman back in the day being part of Jamaica and the kind of West Indies. And then the rope signifies the shipping industry, which was the main industry for a long time here in Cayman, and fishing before the powers that be decided they were going to locate the financial services industry. So, yeah.
Okay. And the Cayman Islands were originally known as?
Las Tortugas. So they were discovered originally by Christopher Columbus, who was, I think, trying to make his way to India and got stuck in the Caribbean. Discovered a raft of places, or at least he was the first person to get it written down that he discovered Las Tortugas. And that was because the islands were surrounded by an abundance of sea turtles. And there is still sea turtles around the Cayman Islands today. And there's also a specific facility on island called the Cayman Islands Turtle Center, which helps breed and get more turtles back into the wildlife, because their numbers have diminished over the years. So they do a good job of breeding and then only releasing sea turtles when they're a little bit older. So they've got a much better chance of making it to adulthood. And then it's amazing. They can disappear for 20 odd years and they find their way back to the Cayman Islands and the beach that they were launched on, and they lay their eggs, the females. So it's incredible.
Yeah. There's loads of that going on around here as well, trying to conserve the turtle populations. I remember going down Island here many years ago now, and it was time for the turtles to be released, the little babies to come out and let them out at night, or towards night. It was getting towards night, and I was like lying in the shallows with my mask on, just watching them all come down the beach and flit to the side of me.
Yeah.
And the number of them that get instantly picked off by birds and fish, I mean, the small numbers get through, very small. It's really heartbreaking.
It's kind of
so much effort.
Nature can be a little bit brutal at times, and that's why in Cayman they've decided they only release them when they're like 3 or 4 years old, to try and give them a much better chance of actually of making it. Yeah, they tend to. We actually did a sponsored turtle lease with my my company last September. It was really cool. It was good to see. It's amazing how the turtle's never been on the beach before. It's been in a facility. As soon as you plonk it down the beach, it's just like a homing beacon for the sea, and then just takes off.
Yeah. And then the name was changed to the Cayman Islands. Tell us about that. Why Cayman?
Yeah, so originally on the island you had what was called Cayman kind of crocodiles, that were kind of inland in the swamp areas and stuff in the islands. So that's when the name changed to the Cayman Islands, and then Cayman is spelled slightly different to it is right now, but then it's transformed into Cayman, Cayman Islands. And if you say to a Caymanian, Cayman, they'll correct you right away. It's Cayman Islands. So a lot of Americans, when they come down here, will be like, "Hey, we're in the Caymans," and they're like, "No, it's the Cayman Islands."
Cayman. Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned your company there, so I assumed that you and Eddie, who may or may not be joining us, he seems to be a bit of a man of mystery. Yeah. I thought you would both be in the financial services industries. Is that correct?
No, so Eddie has his own tiling business on island. He's been here since the 90s, and there is quite a large construction business on island. There's quite a lot of condos and big hotels and that being built on the island at the moment. So the construction industry is quite a big industry and quite a big employer of even members of our club as well. I'd say about a third of the guys are probably in that industry. So
Oh
Yeah.
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 And what are you in that as well?
No, I'm in the financial services industry. Really boring
There
job,
you go.
being a project manager and just chasing people on timelines and deliverables and all that fun stuff. But it pays me a decent salary, and I get to live in the Cayman Islands, so I'm not going to complain.
David, feel free to jump in. I feel like I'm doing all the talking here to Ben.
I'm quite happy for you to do the heavy lifting, Gav. I'll pop in with the occasional shite joke now and again. Just biding my time.
Okay. Plus ça change. All right. The Cayman Island Celtic Supporters Club is a like-minded group of hoops fans based in Grand Cayman, brought together by a shared love of Celtic Football Club. From paradise to Parkhead, we come together to support the boys through every match, home or away, whatever the kick-off time. All games are shown live in our little corner of the Caribbean at Fidel Murphy's Irish pub, where the Guinness is creamy, the welcome is warm, and the green, white and gold is always flying. Whether you're a resident, visitor, or just passing through, all Celtic supporters are welcome to join us. All right, excellent. Couple of questions here. Kickoff time, I guess we're accustomed to our American colleagues getting up in the morning to watch the game. Is that the case for you?
It's the same for us. So for half the year, we're kind of on the same time zone as the East Coast. So same time zone as New York and those guys, but they put their clocks forward in March. So I think they did that 2 weekends ago. So they're now an hour ahead of us. So if it's a 7 a.m. kickoff for them right now, it's a 6 a.m. for us, for example. So yeah, a lot of early alarm calls on a Saturday and a Sunday. But yeah, I'm there whatever time it is, I'm there always. So, and so are a lot of the guys. And we're very lucky. A shout out to Fidel Murphy's, the pub where we watch all of the games. No matter how busy their kind of sporting weekend is, whether it's Six Nations or what have you that's on at the same time, we've got a dedicated television that when the Celtic game is on, it's on that television every time.
That's awesome. Yeah. And is the Guinness really creamy in the Cayman Islands? I can't imagine.
The Guinness is actually pretty good in Fidel Murphy's, I have to say, because we all know Guinness does not tend to travel that well. I'm not going to say it's better than back home. That would be lying, but it's actually a pretty good pint. I'll have to give them that. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it well. And the Guinness sells very well in Fidel Murphy's, and particularly well last Tuesday when it was St. Patrick's Day. I was in there after work, and it was absolutely mobbed for a Tuesday night. So, yeah, lots of Guinness was had.
Very good, very good. All right, David, I'm going to show some pictures of Fidel Murphy's, and I'm going to ask you to talk over them. Say what you see. Ask whatever questions you fancy.
Well, I mean, it does look like a fairly standard, the outside of your basic Irish pub. I'm sure it's anything but basic in the inside.
It looks very authentic to me.
Yeah,
that looks more like it. Yeah.
It's almost like a slice of home, to be honest. And the food menu in there is very sort of traditional stuff you'd get back home as well. So you've got like your all Irish breakfast, you've got stew and mash and pies and mash and all that sort of good stuff that you kind of miss when you're kind of living abroad. So it's like a slice of home when you're in there.
Ben, I saw that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Ben, I was going to say that I don't know if Gav's going to get on to talk about how famous the cuisine is in the Cayman Islands. My tiny little bit of research, I saw that one of the things that you're very famous for are Johnny cakes.
Yeah.
And so, of course, being the Pure Isle CSC member that I am, and Johnny being a sort of different meaning in Glasgow, I was just wondering how rubbery the texture is.
It's actually quite spongy.
Right.
But thanks for bringing that up. Well, I've heard that some people might need pills to help them be less spongy, but I don't know. Don't know about that yet, personally.
Yeah, what is the cuisine like? What is a Johnny cake, and what is the Cayman Islands sort of cuisine like? Is it a lot of rice and seafood?
I would say the like more traditional stuff is like your plantain, your fried fish. So we're lucky that obviously you can catch an abundance of fresh fish because we're an island country. So the fish fries on island are the more authentic food, and then you're going to have that with your rice and beans, your plantain, all that sort of good stuff. So I actually have a spot I like to go to in the East End. So most people tend to live on the west end of Grand Cayman because that's where 7 Mile Beach is, and that's kind of where all the hotels and businesses and all that sort of stuff are located between 7 Mile Beach and Georgetown. But the east end of the island is a little bit more what I thought I was maybe moving to in terms of it's kind of a little bit more old school, a little bit more laid back, a little bit more Caribbean. And yeah, there's a couple of fish fries out that way that are just fantastic. So I like going there on a Sunday, getting a fish fry, cold beer, sitting on a quiet part of the beach and having that and just chilling out. It's good. It's even better if Celtic have won as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you say Caribbean as opposed to Caribbean?
I say Caribbean. I think people flip between the two.
Is this the Carib Indians were the original people from around there, right? So Caribbean kind of makes more sense.
I think most of us expats say Caribbean, but definitely people from North America tend to say Caribbean. I don't know if it's just we called it the Caribbean when I grew up, and
so does
that's what I call it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought when I was a kid, I thought it was a typical American mispronunciation until my old man said, "Well, actually, son, don't be too fast." Anyway, Fidel Murphy's, David. What do you glean from the name?
Yeah, a bit of fusion there going on, maybe. But I don't know much about the Cuban connection.
So it's Irish owned, so you can imagine that Fidel Castro kind of does pretty well in amongst the Celtic supporters in terms of his views on the world. So I think it's probably a little lean to that, and then obviously the Murphy's part kind of speaks for itself as well. If you flick that picture back up you just showed, you'll actually see our flag on the wall as well. So just kind of that far left light, you can see. So that TV in the corner there, that's our TV. Regardless of what else is on that weekend, Celtic will be on that TV. So we kind of group down in that small corner. We call it Fenian Corner, and that's where we watch the games. So,
like, is Fidel Murphy's the main joint for sport watching?
Yeah, there's another couple places, but for your sort of like expats from Ireland and the UK, that's where you'll find most people in there to watch the football, watch the rugby, all that sort of good stuff. Despite the name, you'll find a lot of English games on in there, which a little bit sacrilege, but there you go.
Right. Well, it's on 7 Mile Beach.
Yes.
Which probably needs no great description, but here's a picture of it.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty nice looking sand.
Gab, you say that it needs no description, but it's actually not 7 miles long.
That's true.
Really?
It's a marketing.
David.
It's a marketing technique.
See, doing my homework before the show, and a shocker to everybody. But 7 Mile Beach is not 7 mile long.
How long is it?
It's about 6 mile, I think.
It's just over 6 miles. Yeah, just 6 miles and change, I think. But that doesn't sell well, apparently, so they changed it to 7 Mile Beach.
Quite a lot of us would say 7 when it's really closer to 6, or 6 when it's closer to 5. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I won't argue with that.
All right, so that 7 Mile Beach looks absolutely gorgeous. People parasailing or something there, maybe kayaks.
Yeah, I try and round out my my weekend by going down there for sunset on a Sunday. It's a nice spot to just kind of sit there with the beach chair, a little bit of music, kind of round out the weekend and get yourself kind of reset for the week ahead. So that's kind of, I've got a specific spot I like to go to that's just a little bit quieter than the full on busyness of what 7 Mile Beach can be. You'll find there most Sundays there at 5 o'clock with my cool box, my beers, and my beach chair and my music. Yeah.
Is that the naturist section? The beach?
It's a very Christian country. You've got none of that going on.
Or is it none of that?
Definitely not.
But like women in bikinis is fine. They're not being told to cover up or anything.
I'll be honest. Some of the bikinis these days don't leave much for the imagination, which I'm okay with.
Yeah. That thong's a thong. All right. Okay. Right. Talk us through some of the characters here. Well, we can all recognize one character in that photograph. That's for sure.
Yeah, Stillian.
Talk to us about this picture.
So directly to the right of Stillian with the shades on, that is Fergal, who actually founded the club in 2024. He is an absolute character, big time character. He managed to get himself into a little bit of bother on that trip to Chicago. So this was part of us doing the pre-season tour that Celtic were doing in the summer of 2024. So we took in a game at Notre Dame University. So this is outside Notre Dame University right before Celtic absolutely wiped the floor with Chelsea 4-1. So it was a really great day. So we were in Chicago for, I think it was 4 nights. The CSCs in Chicago put on loads of great stuff around the city for a couple of days before the game and then after the game as well. So it was a really, really fun trip. So yeah, but the main character is that man there with the shades on to the right of Stilian Petrov. He's the guy that founded the club, and he's a maniac. I'll put it that way.
That's the fellow with like the mullet.
Yeah, he's got the mullet to go with his character as well. I think that haircut suits him. He's actually now living in Perth in Australia, so I think that probably suits where he is as well.
Well, we have contributors from Perth on the show.
Okay.
So I wonder, do they know him? They dip in and out of the CSC which is a massive CSC.
If he's gone into the CSC, they'll know him.
Yeah. And also, Paul from Chicago is on our American show. I don't know if you met Paul from Chicago.
I probably did.
One of the main guys.
I met so many guys that weekend, and I'll be honest, I was not sober much of that weekend, so I could well have done. There was CSCs from all over North America in Chicago that weekend as well. It was some crack. Like, it was really good.
I don't know if you've seen our American show. It goes out on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, usually.
Okay.
But if you were to become a more regular contributor, that's probably the best home for you in terms of timing. So
yeah,
I'll make sure Sean sees this, and then he might get in touch. See if you're up for it. Because it's a really good network of people in that side of the world.
I mean, I've in the last sort of 6-8 months, I've been up to Philadelphia with the Bhoys. So watched a Celtic Rangers game with them, which was great fun. And then in November, I was up in New York with the New York Fenian boys out of Ernie O'Malley's in New York. Took in the Midgetland game away, which wasn't great. And then I think it was the home game against Falkirk the Sunday after, which we won handsomely, which was a bit more of a better watch. But yeah, brilliant guys. And that's why we've started developing our own merch now, is because they've all got T-shirts, scarves, and all that sort of stuff to hand out. And we thought, right, we need to get on this as well, so that we can exchange stuff with people and get up in their clubs, and then vice versa as well. So
yeah, we'll definitely introduce you to them then, because all those CSCs you mentioned are on the show. There's representatives.
Yeah, and shout out to the Miami CSC as well. We've been trying to get scarves. Getting them to Cayman's just such a pain. So they're actually going to hold on to our order, which we've done in the US, until one of our members is going up to Miami shortly, and he's going to collect them from the club. So massive shout out to them for doing that for us as well. It's just that's the beauty of Celtic, right? It just connects you to people all over the world. It really does. So just fantastic.
How long does it take to fly to the east coast of the States?
So Miami's only like an hour and change from Cayman, so it's not too bad. New York's about 4 hours. So again, not too bad. Yeah, there we are.
Here we are with the map. You can see where Cayman Islands is vis-a-vis everywhere.
Yeah.
Cuba is right next door.
Yes.
So Fidel, is probably foremost in people's minds. Cuba, Jamaica, you've already mentioned that Cayman used to be part of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Cayman Islands. And you're just across from the Yucatan Peninsula here, Mexico and Belize.
Yep. Yeah. So
what are the nearest islands to you? Oh, here we go. Here's a better map.
Jamaica, probably.
Jamaica and Cuba.
Yeah, in terms of population in Cayman, so it goes Caymanians, then it goes Jamaicans, and then it goes Filipino, and then it goes British expat. That's kind of the order of things in terms of your population bases in Cayman.
Really? It's
There you
good that
go.
I've been researching all these things.
There you go. I think that
Yeah,
graph's
Caymanian,
out.
40%, say.
That graph is definitely not accurate because there is more British than Americans. Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh. And Filipino, like, I mean, they're everywhere, overseas workers, as I guess. How
Yeah,
come they're there? Is it the same old
it's
story, or is there some special
yeah,
relationship with
it's
Cayman
it's
Islands and Philippines?
it's chasing the money for those guys leaving the Philippines. So obviously,
Working on boats and
well, a lot of them work in the hospitality industry here. You can make
right.
some really good money, especially during high season in Cayman. You can make some really good money just
Mm.
like working bar jobs, working restaurant jobs, all that sort of good stuff. So I think a lot of the Filipino community comes here for like hospitality, um, and then
Tax
and then
free, send plenty of money back home, that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
which where they come from, obviously it's a poor country and they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
better their families and all of that. So yeah, and by the way, lovely people. I'm lucky
Sure.
enough to be going to a wedding this July in the Philippines. One of my best friends on island is a Kiwi guy, and he's
Mm-hmm.
marrying his missus in Siargao in the Philippines. So there's a whole load of us from Cayman going to the Philippines for that wedding in July. So yeah, lovely people. So
Well, you'll be very close to me when you're there. I'm
yes,
just nearby.
maybe you can pop
Philippines.
over.
Absolutely. Give me an invite. I'll crash it. I can do a Master of Ceremonies role.
Yeah.
While we're on the geography here,
Mm.
here's a better map of the Cayman Islands. That's Grand Cayman. Anyway, what do people say it's shaped like? What does it remind people of?
I think it looks like a whale personally, and I think a lot of people think the same.
A whale shark. That's what I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
It's like the front of a whale shark
yeah.
and the
So
fin, but I don't know what's going on here.
this sort of
I suppose that's more like a whale's tail. I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like the tail part is obviously that's 7 Mile Beach there, and between 7 Mile
7 Mile
Beach and
Beach.
Georgetown is kind of where most people live and
Georgetown.
work on the island. So you've got most of your people all on kind of this side of the island, and that's why I like going out to the East End for that fish fry I was talking about, because it's a little bit less populated and a little bit quieter and more traditional.
So Ben, how many times did people call Fergal Sharky in reference to the island shape? I think Fergal Whaley wouldn't have really worked as well, would it?
He's like Ronaldo. He's only known by one name, Fergal. He was that famous when he lived here.
Just like to point out, Ben, David was joking about the sharkiness of the island there, and how Fergal Whaley wouldn't have worked quite so well, just in case that went over your heads or
No, I got it.
past your joke receptors. I'm sure there's people out there thinking, what's he talking about? Anyway, okay, you got it. That's good. That's good. Sorry for jumping in there, David, to explain your humour. So Owen Roberts Airport. Who's Owen Roberts?
That's a really great question, and you've kind of got me stumped on that one. I'll need to brush up on that when I go for my citizenship test. He'll be a famous Caymanian. All the airports are named after famous Caymanians. So there's the Charles Kirkconnell Airport in the sister island, which is named after a famous Caymanian businessman as well. So yeah, all the sports and grounds or airports or anything like that are usually named after famous Caymanians.
And they've all got these kind of Englishy sounding names, do they?
I mean, if you look back in history, there's a lot of Scots ended up in Cayman, actually, back in the day. Some of them, I think, absconded from the Navy, etc., and just decided to stay.
So Captain Blackbeard supposedly used to do his trade round about the Cayman Islands.
Yeah,
this is not a prelude to a pun, but
no,
it's just part of the research I've done.
Yeah, and one of the liquor stores on island is called Blackbeard's. So there you go.
Is he not more associated with the Bahamas? I mean, again, from a scuba diving perspective, anyway, there's a whole bunch of boats there that come under the Blackbeard banner. That's the only reason I know anything about the Cayman Islands and the Caribbean, is I used to work in the diving industry for many years.
Yeah.
And there's a boat called the Cayman Islands Aggressor that does 7-day trips around Cayman, Grand Cayman and Little Cayman.
Yeah, I mean the
which
diving
I
in Little
might be
Cayman
on one
is
day if I ever sort of make that happen. In
yeah.
which case, I'll definitely give you a shout and pop into
Well,
Fidel Murphy's
always
for a
welcome.
post dive pint.
For sure. I mean, we actually get a lot of, especially during the season, we get guys coming here on holiday and all that sort of stuff, and they tend to get in touch through our either Twitter page or now our Instagram page, which we've set up this year. And yeah, we're just like, yeah, come along, absolutely, come along, come and watch the game with us, bring your family, and come and get to know us. And we've even had a couple of guys who've come a couple times down holiday and come and join us on kind of on a regular now, which is nice as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll talk us through some of these pictures then of the people involved. There's a series of images on your socials which are all very sort of
Yeah,
similar photos. So
I know.
talk us through some of these.
So this is after we closed the gap to 2 points, not last weekend, but the weekend before. I'm there on the far left in my Scotland jersey because I thought I'd chuck that on because the Six Nations was on at the same time and Scotland were playing Ireland. So I just wanted to kind of upset some of the Irish guys in the bar, but in the end we got humbled. So there you go. To the right of me is Sean Fallon. He's originally from Shotts. To the right of him is another guy from Shotts called Chris Lennon. In the background behind
Sean
Chris,
Fallon, Lennon.
yeah,
These are good names you're coming out with.
yeah. Behind them is Neil. I've forgotten his surname. That's terrible. Neil's been on Ireland since the 90s as well. He's in the construction industry. Just kind of in the front there is a guy called Inderjit Singh, but he's known as Indy. He's been in Cayman, I think, 30 years. He's in the financial services industry as well. And then far
Scottish
right is
Indy, is he not?
Yeah, he's from Glasgow. Yep.
Scottish Indy.
So most of
Very
the guys
good.
in that picture are all from Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And for the life of me, I can't remember what the wee guy's name is. He's only come to like 2 games now, but there he is, kind of front and center in the photo with the flag. And then the far right there, the guy in sort of the lime green top, that's Eddie, who was meant to join us tonight.
That's Eddie.
From Dunoon, but he's been posted missing. He's probably in Fidel's having a Guinness instead.
Eddie's very prevalent in these photographs. Is he the guy that wears like the Liverpool Irish T-shirt in some of them?
No,
we'll see.
You'll see him kind of. You're flicking through them
Sorry,
now.
I'm skipping through.
No, you're fine.
Let's go back.
So this.
You don't have to list everybody.
No, you're fine.
Your blushes. You can just pick out 1 or 2.
So you can probably see Chris Lennon in that one as well, and Neil's on the far left. The guy in the back corner behind his dad, so his dad's actually here on holiday, next to Neil on the left-hand side in front of the rugby picture. That's Grant. He's only been in Ireland for about a year and a bit now. He's been really instrumental in kind of organising us from a merchandise point of view. So he's been the one kind of organising all the merch, and he was the one who encouraged us to get an Instagram page as well, because we'd had a Twitter page up for a while, and he was like, get yourselves on Instagram as well. So he's been kind of pushing us forward. As you can see there, I am at the back. I think that's post the 2-2 game, I want to say, when Hatate scored the equaliser in stoppage time. And you can see Eddie there on the far right. And then the gentleman with the cracking beard and the bonnet, he's actually...
Brian McClare?
No, he looks a bit like him, right? His name's Daniel, and he's actually American. But he's just got right into coming to the games and getting into Celtic in the last year or so. He works for a spirit company on Ireland, and he just loves coming down, and he's got right involved. He's bought the tops, and he's you can see there he's actually wearing a kilt. I don't know if you can see that from the picture.
Guy's gone full tilt. He's got the kilt and the Spartan hat.
He's gone full tilt, yeah, for sure. So, but all great guys. This picture here, so that's that family there on the left. They were here on holiday, and they reached out and said, hey, we're going to come down for, I think that was the Stuttgart game where we got absolutely creamed at home. So the midweek games are a bit of a nightmare for us because they kick off at like either lunchtime or mid-afternoon. So most of us are in the office, but if I can escape and, my boss doesn't know where I am, I'll try and escape and get down for the game. So you can see me there. And then on the right is a guy called Ian, who's actually back in Scotland at the moment. He's in his 70s now, mid-70s, and then he's been on Ireland about 30 or 40 years as well. So he flits between Cayman and Scotland now. So it's usually a smaller crowd for the midweek games. So this one is a picture of us in Chicago. That's in, I forget the name of the pub. But that was it. That was part of our Chicago trip. So you can see Fergal, the madman with the mullets, in the middle there. You got Sean Fallon to the right of him, Chris Lennon to the left, and then you can see myself as well. Sean Fallon, the guy in the black top, that's actually his brother up at the back on the left-hand side. They don't look particularly related, so I don't know if, you might need to speak to their mum about that one. But they are brothers from Shot.
Okay, and then we're on to the sort of map images that we've gone through already.
So you can see from map image, if you go back one, how small Cayman is in relation to everywhere else. It really
doesn't even feature.
Yeah.
Can't even see green underneath the words Cayman Islands.
I know.
So, like, how many people are in the... Well, that's the interesting thing. It's like so tiny, and the population is what, 80,000 or something, 90,000.
Yeah, I think it's about 90,000 right now.
I thought it was 130 according to my stats, but
no, 90,000. When all the tourists are here during high season, like just now, you might get like it bumping up a little bit because of on island tourists. Maybe it goes over 100,000, but typically it's around 90,000 at the moment.
So it's amazing that there's a CSC at all in such a small place, and that you've even got like numbers. I mean, you get half a dozen people on average or something like that.
For most home games, most league games at the weekend, we'll easily get we'll easily get a dozen guys down.
A dozen guys, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, and then for the bigger games, you get kind of the wider group coming down. So like Celtic Rangers games, you'll get a bigger group. If it's a semi-final or a final, you'll get a bigger group coming down as well. But yeah, most weekends there's at least a dozen of us there for even your typical lost to Dundee United away.
Like, I live in a place in a city in Malaysia here, which has got several 100,000 of a population, and there's no Celtic supporters club. I only know one other Celtic fan,
right?
And he's just arrived recently.
Right.
So
okay.
all these years, I've had nobody to watch the games with, and hence the Celtic world exists, so I can talk to people.
Sounds like now you've got a buddy, you might have to start forming a club.
Yeah, just the two of us. Building castles in the sky.
What will you call it?
Well, it would have to be Borneo CSC, I suppose.
Okay.
And then we'll link up with Amazon CSC, like the song goes, from the Amazon to Borneo.
Brilliant.
Here's some more imagery of the Cayman Islands. That's kind of, I guess, what it looks like.
Yeah, from the sky. It's actually a beautiful, beautiful island. Very lucky to call it home, and have done for nearly 7 years now. And then whenever you're kind of fly off island and then you're flying back on, you're met with this image as you're coming in low towards the island when you're just about to land, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm pretty lucky to live here.
So it's very flat. There's not much raised land, according to this picture.
No, it's a problem when we have hurricane season, because obviously you can get like rising water with a hurricane. So that's when living on such a flat island would kind of be a little bit of a risk for sure.
It's not in a tsunami zone or anything?
We, not to my knowledge, has there ever been a tsunami here? However, I know the government were doing a test the other day where they were testing a system to see if there was a tsunami, how the alerts would work out and how they would go out to the population. So we got a load of emails, I think it was last week, about a test they were doing for tsunami warning. So they're obviously thinking about the potential for one, but touch wood, not so far.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously, when I moved here, I knew I was moving into a hurricane zone, and that was going to be part of my life for like 5-6 months in the year that you're in a hurricane zone when it is hurricane season. But nobody told me you got earthquakes here. And then we had a 7.7 in January 2020, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
So, but the infrastructure on the island's built to such a high standard, because it is in a hurricane zone. There was no damage, or hardly any damage to any of the buildings. It's quite incredible. So,
David's going to jump in with hurricane or with earthquake talk.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a 7.5 last March, February, March time, But yeah, I think our buildings are lots of high rise. So like I live in the 32nd floor, and I thought that was it, But yeah, it was scary stuff.
Yeah, was that the biggest one you've had since you've lived there as well?
It's the first time there's been a massive earthquake in Thailand for 75 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, the epicenter was in Myanmar, but yeah, it was 7.5 by the time it got to us.
Yeah,
scary stuff.
Yeah, it was
That's terrifying.
a unique experience for me because, like I said, I'd read all the stuff about, okay, you're at risk of hurricanes and this and that and all that sort of stuff. So when the ground started moving that day, I was like, hang on, I didn't sign up for this.
Were you in a building, or what were the
I was,
circumstances?
yeah, I was in my office, and then everyone was kind of just looking around like, is this actually happening?
Did you run out onto like open land or something?
So yeah, I won't lie. As soon as it stopped moving, I ran out the building. Since then, I think it was the biggest one that's been in Cayman for a very, very long time as well. There's actually been more government guidance around what to do in the event of an earthquake and all that sort of stuff. The hazard management team, as part of the government here, really kind of brushed up on their stuff post that earthquake, because what a lot of parents did, which if there had been a tsunami, was they all went and jumped in their cars and started driving to schools and all that sort of stuff to go get their kids, just because they were frightened, right? But if there had been a tsunami, all the parents would have been in their cars on the flat road and getting washed away. And all the kids were in the schools, which actually had pretty solid plans in place, and they'd moved all the kids up to higher floors just in case anything was going to happen. So yeah, there was a bit of a change from the government in terms of guidance and what to do following that. So, and then 2 months after that, we had COVID, which was great. So,
what was COVID like in the Caymans? Were you isolated from it, or
we shut the border? So it was a case of no one's coming in, no one's going out for quite a long time. So
did you have cases?
We did.
A small number of cases.
We had a small number of cases, and then they made the decision to shut the border because we just don't have the ICU beds capacity here. So if it actually really took off, it'd be quite a significant problem in Cayman. So they shut the borders pretty early doors, kind of locked us down quite hard for like 10, 12 weeks, where it was like you could only go to the supermarket on a specific day where your surname fell on that day, and you could only exercise for 1 hour in the evening. There was a curfew from 7 p.m. onwards, all these things, because when it first happened, just nobody knew what this was, right? So we got locked down pretty hard, but they kept the border closed. But then life went kind of back to normal on island, aside from the tourism, obviously. Yeah, like by the summer, we were all back out to pubs and clubs and restaurants, and kind of life went back to normal, but you couldn't leave. So that was the kind of catch-22.
Well, there are lots of golf courses on the Cayman Islands.
We have two golf courses. We've got a 9-holer at the Ritz, and then we've got an 18-holer at North Sound. Both very nice courses. So, yeah.
I imagine all the finance guys are playing golf quite a lot.
Well,
talking about how much they made last quarter.
That's a very stereotypical thing to think, for sure.
Yes, it is. It is. But incorrect.
Well, I mean, I don't personally have a membership because it's $5,000 for a year. I'm like, that's a bit too steep for me. I'll just play when I can. But yeah.
All right. Well, I'm wondering what else you get up to on the Cayman Islands. So, like, things to do in the Cayman Islands. Well, here's some touristy things. You tell me if these kind of things have been done.
Scuba diving.
Kind of unathletic-looking diver there underwater, enjoying the stingrays. Yeah. Have you done that?
Yeah, we've got this tourist attraction called Stingray City, which is like it's a way bit out from the island, and you obviously take a boat out there, but then there's like this kind of natural piece of like sandbar that's kind of raised up, so you're actually a bit away from the island, but when you get out of the boat and stand up, the water's kind of only up to your midriff, and then the stingrays are just kind of all around you, and tours go out there and you can feed the stingray. I don't know if you've fed a stingray before yourselves, or it's like a hoover going across your hand when it takes the food off your hand. And apparently if you kiss one, it's 7 years good luck. So I kiss them every time I'm out there.
David, do you fancy that?
Actually, it looks amazing. I'm not the best swimmer for the deep sort of diving, whatever. But no, if it's only up to your waist or not too deep, then yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
you can see how shallow it is there. It's pretty shallow.
The Stingray City itself is pretty shallow, and it's a good spot to go to. Lots of your tourist boats will take you there. Then they'll take you to Starfish Point, which is maybe another picture you've got. I'm not sure if you've got one lined up.
I'm not sure if I do.
You've also got Rum Point. They're like tourist kind of spots that you would go to. You've got some shipwrecks you can actually dive as well in Cayman, which are good fun as well. So yeah, the snorkeling is great because the water is just so clear. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I like the snorkeling and just kind of laying on the water and just kind of floating around and watching all the fish. And you get to see nurse sharks quite a bit, stingrays, turtles, barracuda, kind of all those things kind of cutting around. So it's like a different world down there, as opposed you're well aware of that, Gav, with your job and in the past.
And it's sort of accessible for non-divers, as you're saying. There's lots of snorkeling opportunities. But here's something that's a bit more up my street.
There you go. Cave diving.
Crystal caves.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very narrow.
Yeah, I've not personally done that myself. I'm a little bit kind of, even looking at the picture, makes me feel a little bit claustrophobic. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where he's come from, or if he's just maneuvered himself into that position, because there's not a lot of clearance over his head there. That guy.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be me.
Pretty awesome. Is there any way you can sort of see that? Without, no, you'd have to be diving. I mean.
Yeah, no, he's definitely diving.
There's no sign of anything snorkeling. Snorkeling, you're never even going to see the outside of the cave, I suppose, are you?
No, not really.
But he's got some serious equipment on there, that guy. So,
I mean, there's people that literally, they come to Cayman just to dive. That's like what they're here for. Do you know what I mean? So it's they've come here just to dive. That's what they've come here for. So yeah, the diving industry is one that does pretty well on island.
There'd be a lot of shops, are there, for day trips and things? Yeah. One of the biggest. As far as I know, there's only one liveaboard, which is the Cayman Islands Aggressor.
Yeah. Most guys are doing like day trips. They're not going overnight. I think that's probably the only one.
Yeah, that does like weekend.
And then there's people
doing
night dives as well. Here, so yeah.
Okay, well, for landlubbers, what's this place? Do you know this place?
I think this is Pedro Castle, maybe?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Pedro St. James Castle.
Yeah.
Which is what is that?
It's basically an old fort, essentially, that's now called a castle. So they've it's not a castle in the traditional sense that you'd see in Scotland, for example. But yeah, it's called Pedro St. James Castle. There's actually a really nice restaurant there called the Thatch and Barrel. And it's a nice place to get a drink as well. It's got some good views. So it's a nice little tourist spot.
I think I read that it was a former plantation house and it's now like a museum. Is that right?
Could well have been. I heard that it used to be a fort, but obviously that's just me going off secondhand information. You've probably done better research than I.
Yeah, plantation house. So what was pineapple plantations or sugar or something? What was it in the past?
Yeah, just what you've touched on there.
Those two?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the red legs of Barbados?
I have not, no.
Well, like the Irish slave trade, the white slaves, there was a whole bunch of like Irish that were shipped out to the West Indies, as we still call it, as you mentioned earlier. It's crazy that we use that term, West Indian. I had to explain that to my son the other day, what a West Indian is. Well, it's like from the west of India, and I was like, no, it's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's mad. Anyway, there's
the
bunch
cricket
of descendants.
The cricket team still call themselves the West Indies as well, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they have taken ownership of it.
Yeah.
But there's descendants of Irish slaves still living in Barbados, and they live up in the hills, and they're kind of very secretive, and there's been a lot of, not much gene sharing in
All
that
right.
pool. So they're considered oddities.
Right. Okay.
And they've still got the pale skin and the red legs, as you would
Right.
expect of an Irishman on holiday. The red legs of Barbados, and apparently the government have been trying to, encourage them down and reintegrate them into society and introduce them to different people, that sort
Right.
of thing.
They just want to keep
But
themselves.
yeah, what an oddity that is.
That is definitely an oddity.
Which I found out from listening to Damien Dempsey, to Hail or Barbados, and looking up all about the white slave trade. David, I'm sure you're very knowledgeable about all these things.
Sadly not. Leave it to your expertise there, Gav. No stranger to red legs. Despite being in Bangkok for the last 11 years, I can still get a sunburn under a 40-watt bulb. But, yep.
David, join the club.
All right. Well, here is Eddie, who was supposed to be joining us, and don't know
that is Eddie.
has occurred to him. Natural order restored, and Big Eddie says, "Fuck off, Nancy." That's what that photograph is entitled.
I'm glad you brought that one up. I think there's also a video of me being a little bit rude after the 0-0. I don't know if you've got that from our socials. That. Okay, that's good.
Don't have that.
Yeah,
well,
we're
that
singing.
brings us on to talking about the state of play this season, and just for context, we're in the international break where we've just lost the game against Dundee United.
Yep.
In Dundee. And we're now in third place, and we went from being favourites last week and everyone very excited about the impetus that the team had to suddenly our title hopes are in tatters, and everyone's despondent. Well, those are two ends of the emotional spectrum. Where do you find yourself, Ben?
On Sunday, I would have said I was on the emotional end of it's over, we're done. But in the last couple of days, I've sort of calmed down and gone, you know what? I can't see that Hearts team or that Rangers team reeling off 7 wins either. So I think there's going to be twists and turns still to come, to be honest, in this title race. I think the fact we've got both of them at home is a huge plus post-split. I would like to have those games as close to the split as possible so that we can maybe kind of knock their confidence, maybe psychologically, by maybe beating Hearts and then beating Rangers at home. I think that would be a big shot in the arm to both Celtic, but also kind of maybe deflate both of them if we were able to do that. But my head says our best chance of silverware is probably Scottish Cup. So I don't know how you both feel.
David?
I must admit, after the Dundee United game, I was very, very deflated. But yeah, I agree with you, Ben, that I think that I'd be astonished if either of those teams, they don't drop, plenty of points, really. Rangers are no great shakes. Hearts have found a way to kind of stumble across the line with, basically 1-goal victories. I think we're still in there. But I mean, I think probably, I don't know if we were complacent or whatever. We thought we'd go over the difficult games, and then we would just turn up against Dundee United. People expecting that the Dundee game would be the more challenging one. But I mean, looking at that pitch, I mean, you're probably, even from the Cayman Islands, you're probably not used to that much sand. But yeah, it was a terrible pitch.
To your point on the pitch, David, if you showed up to that type of pitch for Sunday League, you'd be pissed off. You'd be like, look at the state of this. For that to be in the top flight in Scotland is just ridiculous. I mean, you've also got a great picture. I don't know if you've seen it going around on social media of like Dundee United Stadium, that pitch, and then you can see Dundee Stadium in the background and the pitch looks absolutely perfect. And you're like, you're a couple hundred yards away from each other. How is one ground staff getting that so wrong? Because they both had the same rubbish winter weather, right? So how is one ground staff getting that so wrong? And then just up the road, you've got a pristine pitch at Dundee. I think for Celtic, we try and play football. So getting it down and trying to play that on that surface was just not going to work.
Yeah. Adjust to the conditions. Bloody Kyrat Mark II.
Yeah, I mean, Personally, I would have probably gone 2 up top and just gone a little bit more direct and just kind of maybe
right.
taken that out of play. It might not have been great to watch, but we were trying to play on that, and it was bouncing off people. I mean, there's a clip going round of towards the end of the game where Chamberlain tries to control it and then pass it out wide. It hits Yang, and then it comes back to, I think it's Arthur, who then tries to switch play, and it goes out of play. And that just summed up Celtic in kind of one kind of sequence of play and how they were on Sunday. To be fair to Dundee United, I think they'd lost 2 very late goals in the Dundee derby, so I think they were kind of a little bit hurt by that. So I think there was maybe a bit of a reaction from Dundee United in terms of, I think maybe Goodwin said to them this week, what on earth was that, losing 2 goals in stoppage time in the Dundee derby? And they've come out wanting to put on a performance. And I think they've played on that pitch as well, so they probably maybe a little bit more used to how bad it is than Celtic were. There's another great picture going around of Rio Hotati when he was kind of walking around the pitch before the game, looking at it with utter disgust. And you're like, I think that's probably how most of the Celtic players thought when they seen that pitch. They're like, how are we going to get down and play on that? But fair play to Dundee United. I think on the day they played the conditions better, and they just seemed a little bit more up for it for whatever reason than Celtic on the day.
Definitely. And
I think
I see this also in your socials.
Aye.
So it's so you're very much on board with the with this movement.
We have absolutely no confidence in the current Celtic board to get anything right, to be perfectly honest. Well, I say Celtic board. It's a bunch of puppets who are controlled by a minority shareholder, essentially. And I fear for what we've got to do in the summer, because I think it's a huge rebuild that's needed in the summer. There's a lot of players that have kind of maybe had their time at Celtic. There's players out of contract. There's loads of loans that will go back to their clubs. I don't think anyone on loans really hit the ground running. So it's going to be a huge rebuild this summer. And if they've not already identified who's going to come in and lead that from a managerial point of view and give them a full preseason and try and get signings in, I worry what could happen going forward. I really do.
And we're reaping what we've sown over the years of underinvestment, and as you said there, a lack of ambition. I don't know if you've seen our "Where is the Ambition" video and movement. Yeah. I'm going to play it for you here. If it's in the videos, is it? Yes, here we go.
instead of this settling for mediocre, imagine what we could be.
There you go. Imagine what we could be, Ben. Can you picture Cayman Island CSC featuring in that?
Yeah, we'll need to get that printed off so we can get a nice picture on 7 Mile Beach for you.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
I
If you
mean,
know how to do that.
I think like the club's sort of treating the supporters like we're kind of all a bit daft. Do you know what I mean? But we can all see that basically their strategy for years now has been, let's just finish ahead of Rangers. And they had an opportunity when Rangers went bust to be like, okay, let's maybe like change that model. And to me, we should have become like the Shakhtar Donetsk of Scotland, where you're winning the league every year guaranteed, and then you're having a real go in the Champions League. That should have been the model for Celtic, for me, in terms of just totally dominating Scottish football and then having a real crack in Europe, hoovering up some young talent from around the world and then selling them on for big profits like Shakhtar did so well, and selling guys like Fernandinho to Man City and all these things. That's what I think we should have been doing in terms of dominating Scottish football and then going further in Europe. But the Celtic board are, as soon as they're just like, we just want to finish just ahead of Rangers. That's their only thinking. So, yeah, I think time's up, to be honest. But I don't think Dermot Desmond cares, to be honest. That's part of the problem as well. So.
Well, there's talk of restructuring the club, isn't there, David, this summer? And I wonder, will that be enough, whatever he does, you know, the recruitment and bringing in a new football director or whatever appointments are going to be made, getting rid of, what's his name?
Michael Nicholson.
Yeah, Michael Nicholson. I can't remember that bugger's name.
Yeah.
And maybe one or two others.
I think
it's
the
such
big
a huge job, isn't it?
I think the biggest indication will be the choice of manager. I mean, if it's Robbie Keane, then we know that Dermot Desmond is still running the show. If it's a cheap option, again, Desmond running the show. And also, I think, Ben, you touched on it as well. The new manager is the priority. We need to get the guy in the door as soon as this season is finished. While the World Cup's going on, get him in, get him to identify the targets we need. For me, it's been a bit like a self-fulfilling prophecy from the board. Saying that we need to hoard the cash just in case things go belly up. Things have gone belly up, and it would probably take about 30-40 million to get us back to where, not far off where we were 18 months ago. It's crazy.
The fall off in 18 months is spectacular. It really is spectacular. I mean, going toe to toe with Bayern in their own backyard, and for much of that away game, kind of playing them off the park to where we are now is just, it is a spectacular downfall. It really is. And I think, to your point, you will be able to tell by the managerial appointment in the summer if we're going to go big. I think if it's someone with a bit of gravitas and a good name, I think that's a sign that maybe we're going to go big. But if it's a Robbie Keane, I think that's going to be, I don't think it's going to fill a lot of Celtic fans with much hope, to be perfectly honest. Now, that might be a little bit unfair on Robbie Keane, because if you actually look at his managerial record so far, he's actually done pretty well. But I think we need a bigger name, personally.
And one that unites the fan base. I mean, obviously his career CV is enough to make a lot of people turn away.
The Maccabee job in Israel probably doesn't go in his favour. So, with big sections of the support. So, that would be concerning. I would, now that guy's out of Europe at Bodo, I'd go get him. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
Is he likely to join us? I was shouting for him before Brendan got the job. I was on the Knutson train.
Yeah.
But he's achieving such great things with them. I mean, why would he give that up? He's got loads of control there.
But has he taken them as far as he can in terms of last 16 in the Champions League? I I don't know if that's as far as you can take that team, because I think a lot of that team will probably now.
Yeah. Whereas with
leave the
us,
club.
you can get into the quarters of the semis of the Champions League, right?
Well, I mean, that's what we should be aiming for, I think. But yeah, as we've already covered, the club's ambition seems to stop it as long as we win the league a point ahead of Rangers. We're happy with that. Do you know what I mean? So
Okay, can we wrap this up in a positive way? And
yeah,
let's imagine things go well at the end of the season.
okay,
Right, we're back in it. Right, let's talk about how, you know, the narrative changes every set of fixtures.
yeah,
And if you can go from favourites to practically out of it in one set of fixtures, well, you can go back to being right in the mix in the next set of fixtures, or two or
Mhm.
three.
Yep.
So so let's assume we do get right back in the mix. You know, there's still the potential for a league and cup double, Ben.
Yeah, and then if you hadn't had
Is that
if you hadn't had Nancy come in and left Martinoneill in charge, it might have been a treble, which is crazy to think. So, I mean, I like always live in hope with Celtic. I'm not going to give up on it. We're only 5 points behind. There's 21 points to play for. Like we've already said, I see Hearts and Rangers dropping points in the running. I think it'd be great to get both of them right after the split, so that we can like maybe beat them at home, both of them, and that might really deflate them and really kind of kick us on to be like, okay, we can go and win this, you know. So that'd be what I'm hoping for. I think it'll go right to the wire, hopefully. And
yeah, if it goes right to the wire, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, because the alternative is, you know, within a few games we are well and truly out of it.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep positive. Dundee after the international break is going to be a huge game. I think anything less than 3 points, and I'd say that we're kind of probably drifting out of it. So that's just such a must-win game when we get back after the split. It'll be interesting to see what the other two results are, because I think they both play before us when we're away to Dundee. So yeah, there might be a bit of pressure on that Celtic team, and then you're going to have to see what they're made of at Dens, because I don't think that Dundee team's that bad. I think they've got some good young players on loan from down south who can actually play. So it's going to be a tough game. I think Stephen Presley, to be fair to him, got written off very early doors, and he's actually done a pretty good job up at Dundee. So fair play to him.
He has, though he does look like a history teacher, you know, rather than a football manager.
He's got the strangest looking football, doesn't he?
David, you're the man I come to for a dose of positivity. So you round out the show with your positive message.
Well, I think if you look at last season, a lot of Celtic fans were gutted because we only got the double. You know, this season with the shit show that it's been, if we were to get the double after everything that we've been through with Nancy, with the board, you know, with all the Kairat and all the nonsense, if we were to get a double, it would be a phenomenal season. And actually, it's still pretty much there to play for. St Mirren, we beat St Mirren in the semi-final, and then we've got what is it, Falkirk or St Johnston or whatever it is.
Falkirk,
you know, so
Dunfermline in the other side.
Dunfermline there, the Neil Lennon, yeah. You know, so you know, pretty much we're in with a great opportunity for the Scottish Cup. So yeah, I think you know, we're still very, very much in the championship race, and you know, make ours a double for sure.
Love the positivity.
All right. Yeah, gotta love it. All right. Well, look, it's been a delight, Ben, to chat to you and get to know all about Cayman Islands CSC. I'm sure the people in the chat have learned a lot. You know, they're a very intellectual, information-thirsty crowd that watches the Celtic World. So I'm sure all the comments have been very erudite and well-informed.
No, thanks very much. Thanks very much for having me. It's been good fun, and yeah, always happy to come on and talk about Celtic in the future if you would be so inclined to invite me.
Brilliant. Absolutely. All right, Ben, on behalf of all of us here at the Celtic World, thanks so much for being on with us.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And thank you,
Cheers,
David,
Ben.
as always.
Welcome, Gab. All the best. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.